What's up, America? Well, it's time once again for Trunks and Asses. Welcome to the party. Oh, I just ran all over your line.
I am never prepared for the amount of enthusiasm this man has when we start recording an episode. It kills me. Okay, so first off, every episode, we do this every day. Y'all already know. So it's history repeats itself, okay? Today, we're quoting Mahatma Gandhi. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. What do you think about that?
I'm going to be completely honest. I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay, so I'll read it again. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes.
Is that basically him saying, I think, therefore I am?
Kinda, I guess. But I think really what he's trying to say is that, you know, our values and our morals and how we view the world and what we think is important and what we take to the voting booth and to work with us every day is a part of who we are, and it makes up who we are, and all of that comes from your thoughts.
And I would say that, especially thinking about the time in which he was living and what he was going through, he is also saying that those thoughts, not just in those key areas, but in every single action you take during the day, your interactions and your actions. Little known fact, Gandhi actually started his, do you know where he started his movement towards equality?
It was in South Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah. Most people don't realize that he started in South Africa because
I'm proud. Normally I don't get those guys. I'm excited. Good job. What are we doing?
All right, so because of the movement within the empire of England at the time, people moving around, and he was there, but they were treated as second-class citizens, as Indians in South Africa, because the segregation in South Africa wasn't just against the black majority that lived in the country, but it was actually against anybody who was not of Afrikaans or white descent.
Right.
Right, and he was actually one of the.
Didn't he burn the papers that he was supposed to carry, the ID cards, and he had a group of people with him, and they tried to burn theirs, and the police tried to stop it, and they beat him right there.
Yep.
And he kept burning them.
And he was also an inspiration for Nelson Mandela
and Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Jr., that is.
So, anyway, moving on into the rest of the episode today, and
the rest of the story. Paul Harvey.
Yeah. Also, one of the reasons why that is so key in giving a little background there is because we're going to dive into something that we discussed offline a little bit, and I wanted to bring this out to our viewing audience, is the ability to be able to talk about race and topics of race and things that go into race and how race is affected right now in America, especially with a lot of the current events that are going on here. And I mean, Jacob here feels like he doesn't have the ability.
No. Here's what it is. Okay, so you have to understand the backstory. So we're talking about Kanye and the whole ordeal with him meeting with Trump and the response from black liberals and everything like that. And I said that personally, my opinion is...
And by the way, it wasn't just black liberals. It was also...
liberals in general. But I feel like some of the harshest criticisms came from black liberals. I don't think it's right, and I don't think it's proper, and I definitely don't think it's necessary to insinuate that just because you don't agree with someone that they're uneducated and illiterate. I'm saying that very articulately.
Right up until you said
articulately. Until I said that. My accent gets in the way sometimes, guys. So I'm trying to use the right vocabulary to basically comment on some of the things that have been said on CNN and MSNBC and even Fox News and other places that, I think that especially black conservatives endure more hardship than most, because automatically you think that a minority is going to be a part of the left, and that's a stereotype. And I think it's wrong that they suffer those harsh criticisms, and I think that they're automatically dismissed as illiterate or uneducated or privileged or whatever, or trying to be the token whatever.
Yeah, good catch. I say you can say the word Negro because
Mark Twain said it, right?
Oh, Mark Twain actually.
Well, yeah, that was a bad example. I keep sticking my foot in my mouth. You see, I keep getting redder and redder, right?
The word Negro, though it's not one that I personally feel should be used now, is one that was spread throughout the media here recently with Kanye West's appearance in the White House, and it was one that was not just said by black liberals, but also by white liberals who used they used the terms tokenistic Negro, they used uppity Negro, they've used uneducated Negro, they've used all sorts of very bad terms, including uncletom and what have you. And here's what I feel. One, I think that this conversation needs to be had, and I do believe that people who are white who should have the ability to have this conversation and get it out in the open, because one, that also gets rid of that divide that is starting to become wider. I think we had gotten to a place where in everyday society, racism is not something that is allowed and is condoned every day. And I think part of what has come about, and this instance with Kanye West kind of pointed out, is that, and sorry, but I accuse the left of this, they use race as a weapon. And that's what happened to me with what happened on CNN and those liberal media outlets. They were using race as a weapon. They weaponized Kanye West's race to go, oh, well, he is outside of his particular ethnic group because he decided to go and support Donald Trump, which means he's not just outside of his ethnic group, he's outside of his ethnic group and he's uneducated and he is being used and he doesn't have a clue of what's going on. And then they said, oh, he's crazy. However, nobody thought that Kanye West was crazy when Kanye West was saying George Bush hates black people.
I thought Kanye West was crazy.
Most people did.
I've always thought Kanye West was crazy. Now let me interject.
I say he was artistically crazy as well, and that's why everybody.
He's incredibly talented.
They thought that was
if you don't like Kanye, I cannot say his name for the life of me. Kanye West. If you do not like Kanye West, please don't ever talk to me again. What I want to interject here is I'm not saying that we can't have a conversation about race. I'm saying that I don't feel comfortable telling a person of color, just like I don't feel like it's right because I'm gay. Right. I don't feel like it's right that a straight person should tell me how to feel because they haven't walked through my shoes. They don't know what it's like to be gay. They don't know what it's like to be picked on and everything. They may know what it's like to be picked on, but they don't know what it's like to be picked on for that particular reason. And those specific, I don't want to use traumas, but some of it is really traumatic. It could lead to a number of different things like assault, sexual assault, everything like that. So what I'm saying is I don't have the right to speak on behalf of a population that I'm not a part of. Does that make sense?
But and how this all came up is because I wanted to do an episode about Kanye West in particular and his meeting in the White House and the reaction from the liberal media. But I don't see. I get what you're saying about telling people how they should feel, but you're not telling anyone how they should feel. And in particular, that to me is what the liberal media did. And that's how they ran with it. And they tried to tell black Americans, and I don't like, by the way, the term people of color. I know that's what people have started using, because I grew up in rural Alabama, and there were people who, when I was growing up, who still referred to people who were black as colored people. And to me, people of color is just a variation on colored people. And that's, me personally, I've just never liked it. When that term came up, the first thing I said was, that just sounds like you're saying colored people. It's like a new way of saying colored people. I hate that term. And I don't understand why anybody has decided, oh, well, this is going to be the term. And this is what we
Al
like.
Sharpton voted on it.
Yeah.
You missed it.
By the way, Al Sharpton should never represent any group of people out there. He sells himself to the. You love Al Sharpton?
I love watching Al.
Oh, I'm like, because he sells.
Because he cracks me up.
Oh, he is hilarious, and when you look at his history,
he's just he is definitely a fire and brimstone Southern preacher that loves to get stuff started.
And he also sells his loyalty out to the highest bidder.
I mean, that can be argued. I'm not arguing for or against, and that's not the point of this video. The point of it is that I understand. I mean, I don't know. And this is the hard part, because what I saw on CNN and MSNBC and news networks that are supposed to represent my side of the argument was almost as despicable as what we see on Fox News and liberals complain and yell about on a daily basis. To insult someone's intelligence, education, literacy level, socioeconomic status, anything about them, just because you have a difference of opinion from them, shows I can't even find the word. Just shows how asinine you're being, because you're not educated enough to have a civil conversation with this person and actually come to find out what you do agree upon and what you don't or what you can't agree upon, but still walk away from the table and be at least acquaintances, if not friends.
And then here's where I also kind of went off the rails with this whole the way things went, because then also you had popular icons in entertainment who also did the same accusations and conversations and name calling of Kanye West, like who has been one of my favorite rappers for a long time, T.I. I've been following his career since I was in college in the late 90s, and I can remember going to one of his concerts in a town nearby where I went to college. And for him, who says that now he's becoming more socially active, and God bless him. And I'm all for someone who wants to be more socially active and get people more involved, especially in the black community, which has been extremely underrepresented in as far as their political viewpoints, and have been undervalued, I guess is the actual term that I'm trying to say, as far as their political capital. They've kind of become in the liberal view, to me, like the automatic counted on votes, and the liberals no longer court the black community to truly.
Oh, and I 100% agree with that. Hillary Clinton didn't even bother about going to Michigan. We haven't lost Michigan in decades. And we lost it by 80,000 votes. She didn't even bother to go. didn't even show up. The way both political parties treat minorities is despicable.
Well, see that, and that's where I actually counter when I think of how, which is why I'm a conservative. And again, I'm conservative. I don't really say I'm a Republican, but I think that the Republicans in the conservative-leaning party think the way that they view minorities, to me, is not despicable. What they're actually doing is saying, "Hey, in America, you have the ability to move beyond just throughout any economic level that you want. What we want from you is for you to have that determination that you're going to be willing to do it yourself." And that was something that actually used to permeate throughout the black community from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. And this is all during Jim Crow time. They still felt like they had the ability within their community to move through economic levels. The only thing that black communities felt were the toppers was Jim Crow laws and any kind of
right, that are still being practiced today. I mean, the Republican-controlled election commission in Shelby County, which is the largest concentration of African Americans in the state of Tennessee, was overturned in a federal court because they were proven to be practicing voter suppression by only opening up 2 early voting precincts in the entire city in predominantly white Republican neighborhoods.
I used to live over there. Please tell me where the predominantly white Republican neighborhoods in Memphis are. I live there. Please tell me where they are. Because even the predominantly white neighborhoods in Memphis are overwhelmingly Democrat.
No, there are still Republican districts in Memphis. But there
are Republican districts in Shelby County. I'm trying to find where are the Republican districts in Memphis. Because again, even in Memphis, the majority of the people who are actually in Memphis proper, that's what I'm talking about. Even the white people in those areas,
they didn't open them just in Memphis. The entire county of Shelby County had 2 polling precincts, both of them predominantly Republican, both of them predominantly white. Well, I didn't say specifically in Memphis.
But then my counter to that would be, it's not that they were, and that would be wrong as far as just opening up 2 polling places.
When in every other subsequent election, we have had every single one of them open.
To me, it's more about the fact that they're in Republican areas than the fact that they're in predominantly white. Now, the election commission, and again, I used to live over there, and I know that the majority of the people, when I lived there, on the county commission were Democrats.
On the county commission. The election commission is a completely different process.
But you would think that the election commission, and again, I don't remember now. I don't remember how the election commission shook out, but why wouldn't the election commission follow?
Because it's based on representation. I forget exactly how it is, but it's based on how many your state reps. How many of those are Republican and how many of those are
state reps from Shelby County are Democrats.
Right, but
so then the election commission should be Democrat controlled.
There's one independent on it, I do believe.
That might be now. But I know the majority, again, back when I lived there, the majority of the state representatives from Shelby County were Democrats. The majority of the county commission was Democrats. And I can tell you one of the key points to how I know that is because when they changed it from Memphis City schools to one Shelby County school system, which was a huge thing, it was because the Democrats pushed it through. Because the people who were outside of Memphis City did not want any parts of having Memphis City schools and be part of their county because they felt like the educational system was off and Memphis City schools already had more money going into them and yet they weren't getting the results. But anyway, that's kind of, we're kind of getting off subject, and I know we do that all the time, but that's kind of what I like about being able to do this with you is because we tend to
we veer off.
Yeah. But again, going back onto the topic and subject is I think that they've kind of taken this whole race thing and it's getting pulled into so many directions to where those people who, in where I think it really is getting off kilter, is the people like you, who I tend to think, even though you are way far left of me, but you're more moderate than the majority of the people who are vocal in your party, not the majority of people in your party. I say the vocal ones in your party. You tend to fall more towards that center point, but they're marginalizing your voice to feel that you're able to talk about subjects of race. And I also think that the overwhelming vocal majority, not the actual majority, is starting to also push that onto my side as well, to where conservatives are starting to clam up, and then they feel like they don't get to have this say on race. And then when you have the election swings, then you have people who then come out on CNN and go, oh, well, it was a white lash, because they didn't get to say how they were feeling during the election, because they were feeling like they were being suppressed. Like, if I say what I really, going back to the presidential election, and I think the guy's name was Van Jones, who said that there was a white lash because these people didn't poll out the way that they felt truly. Well, no, it wasn't a white lash, because, again, just looking at sheer numbers, these same people who voted for Barack Obama twice had to have gone and voted for Donald Trump.
And there's a significant number of those people that did.
Yeah. So you're starting to tell people that you can't have these conversations on race, and they don't feel like they're able to say how things should feel to them. Now, do I agree necessarily with what everyone says? No. And it's my right to not agree. It's my right as an American. It's my right as a black male. It's my right, and this is going to throw you all for a loop, also as a Hispanic male, because my mother is Mexican, and when we get into later episodes, especially on immigration, I'm going to really blow your mind about my family. It's my right as a conservative to be able to voice my conservative views, which is why we're on this platform. It's my right to be able to talk about anything and everything that I want. And if you disagree with me, you should be able to disagree with me. But you don't need to sit there and call me a name and be like, oh, well, he's an Uncle Tom. By the way, you're using that damn term wrong. Uncle Tom was a freaking hero in that book. Crack a book, you idiots. You don't get to tell
really
me.
Irritates
Yeah,
me.
you don't get to say that I'm some token Negro. You don't get to call me a tokenistic fallacy, because I worked damn hard for the degree that I have, and I work hard daily in my job to make sure that I'm able to provide for my family and keep a roof over their heads and food in their mouths and clothes on their back. You don't get to tell me that, you don't get to make character assassinations. Now, if you want to say, I don't agree with you and here's why, then I'm going to make my point of why I don't agree with you and here's why. And I feel like you have the right to say that no, someone who is black, if it's based on some sound reasoning, should not feel a certain way, because any person should not feel a certain way. I've never been a woman, but I can absolutely, and I feel okay to say, well, at certain times, a woman should not feel, just because she's in a room full of men, that she's going to be sexually harassed and assaulted, because that's what should not happen.
Well, and I 100% agree with you, but there it goes, and this is where we're really going to disagree, okay? It goes
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, well.
It won't be the last.
No. Systematically, I feel like there is so much injustice done to minorities in the country that...
Hold on, you think that there's systematic injustices done to minorities in the United States?
Yeah, but look at the time. We don't have that much time to go into it.
Ooh,
that's why I saved it for the
end.
But I don't feel like I have the right to tell someone how to feel. I'm not saying that I don't have the right to disagree with them and tell them why I disagree with them, but I don't think I have the right to tell someone how to feel about a particular issue. It's just like My thing with race is no different than my thing with veterans. I'm actively, heavily involved in politics. Not as much as I used to be, but I still try to do as much as I can. And there are times that I'll be working community festivals and we have tents set up and I'm registering voters or trying to get the word out about a particular candidate or whatever. And I will, a veteran will come up to me, normally a conservative veteran, and try to argue politics with me. I will not discuss military strategy with a veteran because I don't feel like I have that right because they went and you yourself have done it. You have more of a right to your opinion in that aspect than I do because you made more of a sacrifice than I was willing to make. That's just a personal belief in mine. I can't, I'm an active, I caught a lot of heat from the Brent Kavanaugh video about Dr. Ford, all that stuff. And it's whatever.
So he caught a lot of heat, by the way. You people need to subscribe because we're trying to build up this following. And if he's catching a lot of heat, more of you need to subscribe. So keep watching so you can give him more heat because you didn't subscribe. Just throwing that out there. I can see the views. I don't feel like I have the right to tell a woman what she can. It ties into the abortion issue. I don't feel like I have the right to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her own body. First of all, I'm gay. Pregnancy, the likelihood of a pregnancy happening to me where I am the parental figure or paternal figure in that, highly unlikely. But I just, as a man, I don't feel like I have that right. It ties into a lot of things that I'm just not comfortable doing. And it's so weird because all of these rules that I have do not apply to you because you are a veteran, you're black and Hispanic, you're a father, you're everything like that. And, I don't discuss parenting styles with people that have kids, but I do that with you. I don't understand. There's an exception to every rule. All right, we need to get to your ass of the week. So my ass of the week builds off of this whole conversation. It is definitely 100% Don Lemon for having the nerve to say that Kanye West is uneducated, calling him a token Negro, saying that the man's mother is rolling over in her grave. I was raised primarily by my grandparents in the South, and they were Democrats for as long as I knew them and could remember them voting and taking me to the polling places. Both of them have gone on to their afterlives and the hereafter to go be with God, I'm more than sure. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you I am a very conservative person. I am a business person, but if Don Lemon would have brought up my deceased mother or my deceased grandparents in this instance, I would have taken out my phone, I would have dropped Don Lemon a pin where I am and told him he needs to come and see me. You don't talk about my family. You don't talk about how someone like that who is that close to me would be rolling in their grave, and you definitely don't get to say those kinds of words. You were turned into a weapon for the liberal media, and if someone had said that about you from the conservative side, think about the uproar that would have been going on in the overall media and the landscape. Because if someone who was conservative came out and said that you were an uneducated Negro and a tokenistic Negro and some sort of Uncle Tom, from on Fox News, the Twitter would have melted down, Instagram would have melted down, Facebook would have melted down, and it would have been such an uproar because they would have said even a black person saying that on Fox News, they would have said that they were being a mouthpiece for the conservatives. And I just cannot believe that you would say that. Now, if you want to use the term correctly, we might be able to discuss it, but I think also that you should have the fortitude and the manhood to say that to that person's face if that is how you're going to talk about them. So that's why Don Lemon, and there were many others who were on CNN. I just don't know all their names because I'm going to be completely honest. They're rather insignificant to me because they have proven to me that they are just mouthpieces, and they are not willing to listen to any other sides because they only want to go on those particular shows. The day that you show up on some counterpoint show, why don't you show up on Fox News and say that kind of stuff? And then you can have a true discussion and see how that goes on. But you'd rather go say that on CNN where the panel was there to agree with you. So that's why my answers of the week go to Don Lemon and his cohorts. So,
yep.
All right, folks. So thank you once again for checking us out. If you're viewing and you're not a subscriber, please click that subscribe button. Follow us. We'll try to get better every time. Please throw in some suggestions and, just let us know what you think. So once again, this is Trunks
and Asses.